Star Trek as a franchise is no stranger to shelling out its license for games and toys. There's so many of them out there spanning across so many different shows and platforms that it's frankly even hard to process it all. There's even an absolutely massive list of all the Star Trek games out there, and even just taking a quick scroll through the wiki page, you can see that it's quite a journey to even look at. Thankfully for us, it was the 90s. The budding home console market was finally beginning to flourish. There's a handful of amazing offerings on the Super Nintendo, Genesis, and some of its gross sewn-on appendages. The game we're going to be looking at today is Star Trek The Next Generation Futures Past. God, that game's a mouthful. But the box art looks pretty promising. So we're off to a good start, right? Right. Oh, and it's by Spectrum Holobyte, who did all of these, I guess. Okay, maybe we're not set up to win on this one, but we wasted enough time already. Let's just do the thing. Good golly, oh Molly, would you listen to that intro? I'm surprised it's banging out as hard as it is, honestly. Sounds like it's really pushing that SNES sound chip to the limit. Move over, David Wise. There's a new track to put into every single chill SNES video game mix to chill and mix corn to on YouTube. I'm not even upset about that title screen. We've got the music, we got the visuals, the sweet font. What could possibly go wrong? Frankly, I'm Oh. Well, I wasn't exactly ready for Patrick Stewart's weirdly symmetrical face. Is that mirrored? I'm pretty sure that's mirrored. Whatever. And let's not even mention the absolute assault that is that text dump. Like, come on, man, it's Star Trek, not Reading Rainbow. Oh, sorry, LeVar, I didn't see you over there. Whatever. I'm sure it's just the Romulans or some other nonsense, right? Well, here we are on the bridge. I'm guessing that's data based off the perfectly coiffed hair. And without wasting any time, the communications panel's already just beeping at us. So let's turn around and see. Oh, God. Sweet Jesus, Riker, what happened? Are you okay?
No way.
He's not okay. He looks so completely disappointed. Almost like they replaced all the chairs with low-profile ergonomic seats so we can stop vaulting everything like an Olympic champion. Honestly, I can't even fault Riker too much. Picard's looking like he's already in the Futures Past, and he's just giving up on living. I mean, look at Troy. She's here. You know, just like the show. If it's not clear, you move around the bridge by panning the camera left and right using the D-pad. Unfortunately, that's about where any of the intuitive control scheme stops. I know this is the 90s and we were still figuring out how to do Vidya-game, but God, the control layout makes so little sense. But we'll gripe about that here in a minute, I'm sure. Let's pan over to the comm and answer that call about our car's extended warranty. So this is Dr. Taliris, and she's apparently investigating the legend of the integrated field de-randomizer. I'm pretty sure I caught that last year at GDQ. She says she's detected a Romulan ship or something, so I guess it's up to us to do something about it. And now that we're back on the bridge, let's begin the assault that is navigating these menus. So as stated before, we're just going to rotate around the bridge and just start messing with stuff. Maybe give a little power to the forward shields, maybe see what's in the computer, you know, standard stuff. Don't try to use the transporter though, because Picard gets super angry, stares at you with his grossly symmetrical face. Once we've fumbled around and soaked in the sights and sounds, let's hit the con and head to Codis Mu 6. Now this is where the control scheme really starts to shine. Follow me on this one. You need to use A to advance the navigation menu, and instead of using B to go back, you need to use X, but in order to engage the warp engine, you have to hit B. It honestly feels stranger than it sounds. I'm not sure why this couldn't just be a dialogue box that you just hit and it popped up and you selected a system, but it looks like it's time for that warp animation. Just like the show. And now that we've arrived in Codis Mu 6, let's pop into the briefing room and see what we need to... Oh God, Worf, what's wrong? I think something's wrong with old Mr. Wolf. He's not super into this plan. But at least he's not looking like Troy. She looks like Grandma at Thanksgiving, but she's super pissed because you brought the wrong tablecloth out of the storage closet, and now you gotta listen to the big passive-aggressive comments for the rest of the evening. Alright, so now that we've been turbo-briefed, I guess it's time to beam down to the planet and help with the, legend of the integrated field de-randomizer. Well, here we are at the selection screen for our away team, which frankly, it looks like somebody wanted to play a Star Trek-themed Guess Who, and printed out everybody's portrait on a Game Boy printer. Wait, is there a Star Trek-themed Guess Who? Wow, there isn't. Come on, Paramount, you're just leaving money on the table. Alright, enough about sweet board games. Let's get the team together and beam down. Well, this is actually not what I was expecting. Keep in mind, I had no idea what this game had in store for us, and frankly, after noodling around as Picard for a minute, I'm kind of stunned at how much attention to detail there is for a TV show Super Nintendo game. Sure, the sprite art is alright, But it's honestly pretty cool that there's a class structure between security, command, science, and medical. All of these characters have independent stats, items such as phasers, tricorders, comm badges, and some even have special abilities. Definitely not what I expected. All the praise aside, I can't stop looking at Picard's gait. I mean, just look at the way he walks. He looks like he's in 4th grade walking home after acing a test. Looks like it's Go-Gurt and a few rounds of Star Trek Guess Who for him when he gets home. So of course we come in with absolutely zero chance of diplomacy, conversation, or really any type of peaceful solution. And we just start blasting these Romulans with our phasers. I'd tell you it's set to stun, but I mean look at these poor guys. They're 100 dead. You know, just like the show. You can swap characters around by hitting the X button. So let's swoodle on over to the objective with Geordi and talk to old Talandius or whatever her name was. To Lupin III is like, oh, the Romulans interrupted my work. Yeah, don't worry, to Ludwig, we dumped a full phaser battery into them several times, so justice was absolutely served in an adequate fashion for the crime of work disruption. Alright, sweet mission accomplished. Let's head back to the end. Oh god, all hands on deck. Red alert, battle stations. Oh shiz, oh funch. Nothing like being thrust into battle with a Romulan, whatever that is, and having no idea what's going on. I mean, just look at this fight. How on earth did they expect anybody to have any clue what's going on here? At least the visuals are kind of impressive. The pseudo 3D view screen at the top is pretty neat. Enemy hailing. Well, I don't know the controls, buddy, so I guess peace was never an option. Prime directive, more like prime 2-day shipping on whatever's left of the corpse back home. Now that the Romulan scout is dealt with, all's back to normal. I mean, look at Picard, he still didn't care. Oh, look, a phone call, who could it be? Ah, yes, Admiral Quaff. It's a pleasure speaking with you. What might we do to... oh, he's upset that we slapped that Romulan scout. Listen, Admiral, I didn't know the button combo to hail the ship, which is X and Y, by the way, in case you ever could have figured that out in the heat of the moment, and if you're telling yourself that you could have figured it out in that split second, stop lying, where are your parents, get them on the phone, you're in trouble. After Addy Quaff expresses his extreme disappointment in us, he tells us we're needed urgently with some medical supplies for some colony. Let's ask Worf how he feels about the mission. Yeah, me too, Worf. Me too, buddy. And after dropping off the medicine, they want us to check out this sweet derelict ship. This is another one of those moments where I really do admire how ambitious some aspects of this game are. But then I see your face, and it all fizzles away in a second. Now that we've got our Star Trek Guess Who assembled for the next mission, let's beam on down. Man, it sure is dark down here. Probably should have brought a flashlight. Now here's another moment where I'm gonna have to sing some praises about this game. Apparently this area is very dark and hard to navigate. However, really cool detail is that if you select LaForge, you can actually see in green, but very clear, which makes total sense because of Geordi's reliance on his visor to see, and honestly that's a super cool detail. I hope you like that praise because it's all going downhill from here. Here's where this game clearly just throws down the gauntlet and admits it hates you as a player. Upon beaming down here, I spent probably 20 minutes trying to figure out what I needed to interact with to get the power on. I didn't even realize that there were compartments towards the top of the room that you could actually interact with. These compartments hold health restores, phaser batteries. Conveniently enough, they also hold fuses for the power grid. Now that we've got the fuses, we can get the power back on. First things first, now that there's some light, let's take Riker to the next room. Ah yes, murder robots, my favorite characters. I suppose let's attack them with phasers until they explode in some weird robo-gore pile. Gross. Keep an eye on those yellow noodle looking nightmares near the power grid because those are important later and will probably be the biggest source of our suffering. And now that we've handled the murder robots, I guess let's head into literal box maze. Whoever owns this ship is an absolute clown, not to mention the violation of alien OSHA regulations. After grabbing comma-branded fuel for all your punctuation needs, and a sweet bop it, all that's left is to get the puzzle pieces on the wall. Oh, but what's that? You're out of inventory space. Well, congratulations, because now you need to walk someone all the way over to Riker's location, grab the pieces, and then walk back separately. I did find out that apparently there's a way to get people to move as a group, but I didn't learn that until it was too late. After confidently strutting around throughout the ship and collecting as many of these puzzle pieces as possible, while avoiding the death robots, we head towards what appears to be the final set of rooms on the ship. Look at that cast lineup. Absolutely beautiful. The next section is so unbelievably frustrating. Not only are you greeted by the unholy abomination of a pipe puzzle before you, you're also being slapped by robo-grunts constantly. If you die though, it's okay because some goblin masquerading as Dr. Crusher waves a tricorder on you and fixes you or something. Bad news though, if you die in the game, you die in real life in the Star Trek. That's right, you get to do the whole mission again, so have fun collecting all of your puzzle pieces. All I can say in this moment is thank God for save states. After fighting with this seemingly insurmountable task and laughing at the absolutely worthless AI of your crew members, I had an alarming epiphany. Despite having a combined 8 pieces of this puzzle scattered throughout my group's inventory, I learned that there is no solution to this puzzle, and there are still pieces missing. That's right, you guessed it. There's 10 to 12 pieces in total for a solution that only requires 6, and that means some of them are bum pieces, and you have to trade these and juggle these around in your inventory. And keep in mind, there's no trade or drop action, so you better hope you pick the right one, or you're hauling it back to another spot where you can put it on the wall or trade it with another character somehow. Naturally, after a while, I gave up and consulted a walkthrough. Here's where this gets pretty crazy. Apparently, you can waggle your tricorder near the computer terminals and stop the robo-guards. Well, that would have been handy to know, but that doesn't solve my computer pipe puzzle problem. In addition to the security situation, there's a breakable wall. That's right, you heard me. A breakable Zeruldo wall on a ship in outer space. Thankfully, one phaser shot knocks it out, and it reveals a magical computer terminal that removes all robots. Finally, some peace and quiet to end my existence because of this puzzle. After flopping around for what seems like forever and juggling my infernal inventory, the puzzle was complete. Man, it sure was great that we finally fixed... Jesus God, what is that blobulon, holy cannoli ravioli, what? What is that? You know what? It's honestly fitting that this nightmare beast is what runs this ship. I can't even say I'm surprised. Good for you. Star Trek The Next Generation Futures Past is certainly a weird game. It's so unapproachable at first due to the menu assault, but there's an interesting game within a game once you beam out of the ship. I think the attention to detail is super cool in some spots, but it really doesn't help the game overall when it's absolutely miserable to play. Speaking of miserable, there's a Genesis version of the game that's so weirdly similar, but also not. Let's take a quick look before moving on. Of course, it's the same out the gate. It's got that nice grindy Genesis sound chip blasting in our earballs. The crew on the deck looks terrible, but it's like a different kind of terrible than its SNES brother. Riker kind of looks like Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Picard's looking at us like, did you really boot up this game in the year of our Lord 2021? We sure did, Picard. We sure did. The controls are mostly the same, but worse, as it always is with Genesis ports. Nice job not using shoulder buttons, you clowns. At least they were kind enough to give us one of these abominations so that we can hail the enemy ship when the game tells us to. The first level's about the same, but it's like infinitely more difficult. The Romulans come in hot and just rip through you in seconds. Lose too many away team members and you're given this absolute godsend of a game over screen. Well, I think I've had about enough of this game. I don't know about you guys. Me too, Picard. Me too. Stop looking at me like that, Crusher. It's really hard to be too tough on Futures Past and Echoes of the Past. Both of these games came out when video games were definitely still finding their legs, and I feel like it's still really impressive all things considered. It's pretty rare to see games, especially TV show tie-ins, try so hard to actually get aspects of the property correct. Sure, the game's like playing with Legos covered in acid, but it's still really interesting nonetheless. There's a few other games I originally wanted to bake into this one video, but the trash burned far too hot and for far too long. So if you'd like to take a look at some more weird and awful Star Trek games, make sure to let me know in the comments. And if you're hungry for more, you can check out the other videos on the YouTube channel and subscribe. And if that ain't your cup of tea, you can also catch me at twitch.tv/bitterbits Monday through Friday. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.